Hello, everyone. Thanks for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. I'm your host, Lorenzo Melcher, coming to you from PB Studios in my parents' basement. As I always do every week, thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, downloading to the podcast, helping it grow in multiple ways. So thank you for always doing that. And if you're subscribing, you won't miss any random Mondays or things I learned on Tuesdays. And I'm sure I will come up with other ideas for other days of the week as well when I'm not as busy. So continue to do all that for me and the podcast. Share your favorite episode. If you want to reach out or be on a podcast, just search any social media. You can message us through there, or the email is thenerdballpodcast@gmail.com. That is all. Thank you, and enjoy the episode.
I'm Morgan Sopko, and this is the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
Perfect. Awesome, Morgan. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Yes, you did enunciate it, but that's all right. They won't hear the other mess ups you had.
That's fair.
They'll hear this perfectly good podcast.
Yeah, first take.
Yeah, there you go. Well, first of all, thanks for coming out here. We work at the same parks together, so we see each other, talk to each other a lot. Finally was able to get you out here. Through the years, I've learned a lot about you in little snippets. So now we're here for an hour or so to learn everything about you. So
I'm excited. Deep Dark Secrets. Here we come.
The first question I always ask people is, what is something you are nerding out about? Something you're really into, a hobby, something you do to get away from your daily life, your job, something, whether it's reading a book or baking or, maybe you like to throw axes, whatever. Like what is something you like to do?
Lots of things. A few of my hobbies have turned to jobs, which is kind of interesting. So I am a co-owner of a circus in Toledo, Ohio, that does performance art and fitness classes. So I'm part of Bird's Eye View Circus. So it started for me about 12 years ago. I took my first class. But to back up a little bit more, I came from a gymnastic and competitive cheerleading background. Oh. And then I did all of that growing up.
Was that here around the area?
Just over the border in Michigan.
Okay.
Yep. So I grew up doing that, and I coached competitive cheerleading also for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And as an adult, I needed to find an outlet that was physical but also creative.
Yeah.
And the founder of Bird's Eye View Circus lived in my neighborhood, the Old West End. And she kept posting like, hey, I'm teaching these classes. And I saw it, and I knew I would love it, but I already had 3 jobs at the time and lots of other hobbies. So the opportunity came up for me to take a single class. Yeah. And I knew it. I fell like headfirst into it.
What class was that?
It was an aerial silk class.
So it's when you're up in the air on like fabric?
Correct. Okay, yep. The fabric's suspended from the ceiling, big and long, and you can climb it and wrap up in it and do drops.
Oof.
Yeah.
It looks very cool.
It is very cool. Yeah. And I'm going to let you in a secret. I don't like heights, but I feel in control of that situation, and I know the steps that keep me safe, so I like doing that. Okay.
Are you, because it looks like, when I'm looking at it, it looks like you're not tied in at all. Right, is it? You're wrapping yourself in there, but like how comfortable are you? Like, let's say you want to do a new trick. How comfortable are you? Like, all right, I've never done this before. I'm going to do it today.
It depends on the movement. So some of them are definitely like feats of strength. Like I am holding on by my hands. That is what's keeping me safe.
Okay.
Other times I'm working with the mechanics of my body to be more efficient and save those powers. Okay. And there are times when you are wrapped completely and you can let go with your feet because you are fully like tied into that.
Okay. All right.
But I like aerial arts because it's a step progression. Like I don't immediately get to the top and do this giant thing. I take it from the floor level. I do a lot of florial, which is like rolling around on the ground and wrapping up. And then I'll do things, a few feet off the ground, or I have a safe spotter. And then as I get more comfortable and I can trust that I know the movements inside and out, then I can take it a little bit higher.
Okay.
Now, if I drink a lot of coffee that day, my anxiety's high, maybe I don't do some of those giant feats of strength. So it all plays into it.
All right.
So I took this first class, fell headfirst into it, but I was also newly married at the time. Again, had 3 jobs, other hobbies and things. And I knew I had to bring my new husband along for the ride too.
Yeah.
And I thought he might enjoy it and it might be something that we could do together. So his birthday rolled along and I bought him a class package because it was a gift. He couldn't say no. He had to come and try this thing with me.
You trapped him.
Yes. So essentially, I knew he would like it though.
Yeah.
So it was a 7-week long class. He took the first first 4 weeks with me, hated it.
No,
but
was it this same thing?
It was.
Okay.
But
So, what is it called? Silk?
Silks, aerial silks.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, with Bird's Eye View Circus.
Okay.
But it was really out of his comfort zone because it was a class full of mostly women. And we did like a yoga style warm up. And he came from like a sports. I play hockey. We don't do mobility work and take care of our joints.
Yeah.
So it was very foreign to him. So after those first couple of weeks of not liking it at all, something happened. And he experienced like a big win where he could just do a trick and he remembered how to do it.
Oh.
And then he also fell in love with it and has been doing it for the last 12 years too.
You know, that is a big deal. You mentioned like hip, joints and, that right now I coach football for the Perrysburg High School, and we have a big time recruit, offensive lineman, and he's going to these big colleges, and all the colleges coaches tell him the same thing: hips, knee, ankle, feet, mobility. That's what we're looking for offensive linemen. You can be 6'8", but if you can't move, we can't do much with you. So that makes sense where he, it is a newer shift that's happening. So he's, you're right that they don't do that kind of stuff. I keep trying to tell my son, like, you should go to yoga. You should like do all these things. You're going to be a big dude. But it was great for him to like, this thing happened, whatever it is. And in this case, it was a trick. And now, let's keep coming back. Let's keep doing more of these things.
Yeah. And then,
how'd you feel when that happened?
Oh, I loved it. Because
Vindicated?
A little bit, but as an adult, it's hard to make other adult friends.
Yes.
And this opened a whole different community to us with different people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And some of my best friends came out of those first couple of classes, and actually we own the business now together.
Wow, that's wild. Yeah, when you said that, when that was probably last year, maybe a couple years ago, when you mentioned that you co-own a circus, and it's like, first of all, I don't know how that happened. Like, it seems like a wild thing to be like, yeah, we own a circus, because there doesn't seem like there's a lot around anymore. You think of like back in the day, my parents would take us to like, the Seagate Center or wherever the old place where the Storm used to play, where our park is now. Like, you go, you see all these animals and whatever, and now you hear the circus, and you're like, oh, well, what is it? What do you guys do? Like, where do you go? Like, it just seems like a foreign thing.
Totally. And in the last, 50 years, there's been a huge shift away from animals because of animal welfare.
Yeah.
And I did try to get my dog involved in the circus, but he's afraid of a hula hoop, wouldn't come near it. That was the only way I was going to try and bring an animal into this.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more, the human condition. Like, what can we do physically and how can we push those boundaries?
Yeah.
So there's like one side of it that's like freak show. I'm going to put a nail in my head or let people staple things to me.
Okay.
And then the other side is this contemporary performance art. So Cirque du Soleil, like how can we move our bodies and still do these wild things that not necessarily the average person can do? But spoiler, anybody can circus as long as you're willing to try. Like, there is a way that we can have you do these things.
Yeah, because it's not just like, hey, you have to contort your body or do this or that. Like, it's as simple as have working your brain and your hand-eye coordination with juggling. Like there are all these things, which is also physically demanding, but in a different way than being up in the air, suspended by silk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there are studies that are conducted that like movement is not only just like good for you, like to quote the great Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, like working out makes you happy. Happy people don't shoot your husband, that type of thing. But it also is great for our brains, especially learning new skills and continuing learning new skills. Like, it helps us stay cognitive and sharp our whole lives.
Yeah.
So if people have a willingness to try something that might be a little stretchy, might be a little out of their comfort zone, like, you can really have a home there and do it for a long time.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of knee injuries, not circus related, but I've torn both my ACL and partial tears in my meniscus in both of my knees. One of them was hiking on a glacier in Alaska. I wasn't getting chased by a bear or anything, but we are helicoptered in and helicoptered out, not due to the injury. That was the plan to start with.
Wild.
But I had these crampons on my feet and we were climbing down, and I turned and twisted and it held my foot in place, and I turned and twisted and my knee took that brunt of it. I knew immediately that all of my ligaments were like spilling out of my knee. I could feel that. And I'm sitting there on the ice telling people just to leave me there because it's probably better just to be on the ice anyways. Also trying not to throw up because then it would be there for the next 100 years.
I wouldn't even thought about that.
These are all the things going through my head. My husband, scoops me on his back and we hike off to the glacier.
Yeah.
But anyways, all that being said, that circus arts can be good for your joints.
Yeah.
And it is actually pretty low impact compared to a lot of our other things that are really trendy right now to keep you physically fit.
Yeah. Well, first of all, before I go backwards, let me talk about that knee injury on the glacier. So were you guys like almost done?
We were. Yeah, thankfully, we were heading back to our meeting location.
Okay.
We had already eaten the glacier, laid on the glacier, drank the waters of the glacier, took many pictures. So it didn't spoil it too much, but it was on the front end of our 2-week-long vacation.
Oh, no.
And I refused to leave. So we found some crutches, hobbled around, we shifted a few plants, and we were able to do the rest of it.
Oh, my God. You're just going around with a torn ACL and other ligaments that are hanging on. And
my leg was one solid mass from my hip down to my foot because I also severely sprained my ankle. And then the swelling of traveling, I was a wreck. That injury was a hot mess.
Yeah, and then I know just based off football injuries, sometimes when kids tear their ACLs, they can get surgery right away. And sometimes this swelling we have to wait till the swelling goes down before we can even see anything. And it sounds like your thing was swollen.
It took 6 weeks. 6 long weeks.
Oh, yeah. And it's, you had 2 of them. I'm assuming you had 2 knee surgeries if you injured it twice, right?
It was actually my other leg, almost a year to the date on the other side. I was dancing, having some fun. And I came down and I knew immediately.
Yeah.
Now that one, it popped. I felt it release.
Yeah.
I could walk again within a couple of days. I could even jog up to my surgery date, which is 2 weeks later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oof.
So vastly different stories.
Yeah.
But both working knees, stronger than ever.
Yeah. As I get older and my knee's been swollen for a while. It comes and goes, and I don't know why. And I was like, I should probably just go to the doctor. But the issue is they're gonna be like, well, you should do physical therapy first. And I was like, I just want to just give me a scan of it and let me know. Just do that.
Right. Just tell me I'm not hurting it further.
Yes. Yeah. But you mentioned competitive cheer and gymnastics. Did you do that did you start when you were a little kid?
I did start when I was little. I started dancing when I was 4. I have 2 older brothers, and I always tried to do their activities. And then finally, when I found dance, I was like, ooh, this is my home.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to be kind of moving and having that same similar outlet that Circus has given me and as an adult. We got to a certain point with practices that they wanted me to join a competitive team. But my family was like, this is a big commitment. So we pulled back from it. And my high school growing up didn't have a gymnastics team, but they had a competitive cheerleading team. So I got to enter that world.
Were you, you are, it's not a secret, you are a shorter person.
I am.
Were you a top of the pyramid type person, or
No.
did they do that kind of stuff?
I was actually on the bottom, lifting people up.
Oh, okay. What are they called? Are they called?
A base.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We had a strange phenomenon when I went into high school. My entire cheerleading team was 5 foot. And I am 5 foot as well.
Okay.
So one of my best friends, we held up our arms. We were at the exact same height, and we got to be partnered together and throw people into the air, which I was cool with because I always prided myself on being a strong individual.
Sure, yeah.
Especially having these 2 older brothers who are also big into sports. That was a big thing for our family growing up, was to stay physically fit and active. So to be able to launch humans in the air and then safely catch them, I was all for it.
That's cool. Yeah. It is definitely. And I don't know, I've never been involved in cheerleading, or my daughter isn't a cheerleader, but I would imagine the hope, and when you get into this, I want to be the person on top, or I want to be the person that's getting thrown, or all that stuff. But to be able to, not that it's negative, but to be able to put a positive spin on it, this is what my team needs, and I enjoy doing it. I'm with my best friend, we're the same height, let's, go this. I say all that jumbled mess to say it's good to hear your take on it. It's no, this is perfect for me. This is what I want to do. I enjoy this, and it's fun,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The people on top are just as important as people on the bottom, even though you might be visibly looking at one person more than the other. Everybody's a part of the team and has a job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think someone who's not involved in that, looks at it differently, but it's good to hear that, because you equate it to any sport, right? Growing up, I was an offensive lineman. I didn't like being an offensive lineman because it was boring. I didn't get to touch the ball. I just blocked this kid in front of me every day, for weeks on end. And, as I understood football more when I got into high school, I'm like, oh no, this is my position. I'm good at it. I get to push people around. I get to make way for those guys to be able to score touchdowns. I learned, and I'm assuming it's the same thing for you. You learned how important it is, and then you can tell people how important it is, And that was hard for me too because my parents didn't play sports growing up, so I didn't have anybody like telling me besides my coaches. And that's why I'm excited because Mateo's going to be offensive line, my son, so I can guide him a little bit more, whether he hears me or not. He's still my son, but I can give that experience that I had.
Love that.
Yeah. So you did competitive cheer in high school.
I did. Before that too, I also did competitive baton twirling.
Okay, yeah, we were just talking about that. How many years did you do that?
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. At least 4.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And gymnastics, baton, cheerleading. Did you get into these because your parents were like, "Hey, try this out, or try this, or try"? How did that come to be for you for these?
I asked to.
Okay.
I would see these different things. I did enjoy the spotlight and having that competitive element to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always sought it out.
Okay. And when did you? And I'm only asking about baton because that's what my daughter does. We mentioned the competitions and stuff. Was that another thing where all right, we're getting to a point here where we either got to go way up high or just be done?
Absolutely. The time commitment was huge. Yeah. And then I went with what my high school had. They didn't have a competitive baton twirling team.
Okay.
So I had to kind of pick between that. But I am super thankful for my parents. Anytime that my siblings and I were like, oh, we want to try something, they would support us in that to a realistic expectation. But they let us try it. We would have to follow through with whatever that commitment was, even if we didn't enjoy it for a while. But yeah, it's great.
I think that's what's most important is when you're tiny babies, your parent, or at least this is how I parent. I don't know how I'm. All right, hey, let's try this. Let's do this. Let's do this. We'll do all these things because it's only a 4-week program, and let's see if this, if our son and daughter likes this.
Absolutely.
And then we'll continue going forward, and that's how baton happened. It was a free baton day. We got to go check it out, and then we stayed. This is, I think this is her 7th year. So we stayed for that free day, and but I think it's good to say that your parents are like, yeah, I would go to my parents and say, I want to do this thing. And they're like, perfect, let's go do it. Let's see what this looks like for you and where it can take you. And, at some point there are decisions to be made, and for some people they decide not to do it for some other reasons. And it's parents because of other things that are going on or whatever. But the opportunity was there. And I think that's what's most important.
Absolutely. And I am definitely a byproduct of my parents. They are amazing humans. My dad's an engineer, so he has that kind of logical, I'm going to put something together, figure out this puzzle, and then create that puzzle. And my mom is this hippie, crafty, crazy resourceful person. She can get 2 things and then turn it into a masterpiece.
Okay.
If she was on Apollo 13 when they were doing all of that problem solving, she'd be like, I got this, let's do it. I also grew up on a Christmas tree farm.
Oh, okay.
And that was my parents'
Gosh,
side
dang,
hobby.
Morgan.
Yeah. Many
so
folds.
Fun. Yes.
Many folds. So that was their side hobby, how they said they used to pay for their taxes. But my parents were always entrepreneurs, and they always had a couple of small businesses.
Yeah.
So that's definitely been installed in me and also helped with my drive and resourcefulness that I've been really thankful for. But growing up on that Christmas tree farm, we had 40 acres, and we always were allowed to build things. Or as my siblings and I got into hobbies, they're like, yes, we will build this incline skating rink in the backyard type of thing. Or I was into gymnastics. Let's build you some beams and different things so you can play and practice. So I've had a lot of home gyms too that I've been able to have that creative outlet and also go to those formal trainings.
Yeah. I'm having a hard time figuring out where I want to go with these things because there's a lot of things and it's very interesting to me. So, Christmas tree farm. Did you work on the farm also?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They never let me have the machetes to trim the trees or anything.
Have you seen those videos now where people are just
That is how it happens.
That's wild.
Yeah, that is the best way to do it, and that's how my dad would shape the trees in the summer season. He would have a machete in each hand, go up to the tree on a ladder, and just literally slice down to shape it.
So you weren't allowed to do that?
No, was not allowed to do that. Barely allowed to ride the lawnmower because there were some incidences that occurred running into things.
Wait.
We just like to go as fast as possible, which is
Okay.
Especially if my brothers tell me, yes, you can fly on this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and launch it off this hill.
Where's the ramp?
Yeah, exactly. My siblings said I could. They're not going to steer me wrong. Only other trips to the emergency room were because they said I could do these things.
100%. I got in trouble one time because my brother poured a little bit of gas in a tiny plastic teacup and set it on fire in the backyard. And I put it out, and I still got in trouble.
Yep. Where do you fall in the lineup of siblings?
Number 2.
Number 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest, only girl. I never got away with anything,
Okay.
especially 2 older brothers looking out. They're like, we're going to steer you in this direction.
Yeah.
Unless it was, again, one of these feats of trying to have a competition between each other.
Did they ever do like create something? You're like, yeah, Morgan, you do it first.
A little bit, yep.
Okay.
Especially being like small and light. They're like, yes, go forth, try this thing. We'll see if it's safe. But we had like zip lines going through trees.
Oh,
we
my
grew up
gosh.
with like ATVs
Yeah,
and dirt
yeah.
bikes. So yeah.
So what was your tree farm job?
I usually handed people candy canes and said, thank you for coming.
Wait. Let's put it in perspective. How old were you when this was going on?
Oh, it was from, essentially when I was born, my parents lived on the farm.
Okay.
And then it was a working farm up until my young teenage years.
Okay.
So roles did shift a little bit. I got to
Sure.
help like put trees onto the truck and stuff, but
Yeah.
they taught me how to use a chainsaw, but not actually with the public. Yeah. I'm the liability. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta have some rules.
Right,
Morgan,
exactly.
Yeah.
I did a nice hand wave. Again, baton twirling came into play, so they would put flags on my batons and I could help direct traffic. Practical life skill. Which did come back into my
so
adult
funny.
life, because with Circus, I could take my baton twirling skills and then I got twirling knives.
Oh, okay.
So now I can
All
do
right.
that as a thing.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, so tree farm growing up.
Yes.
And do they have that anymore? Or they...
They don't.
Okay.
They still live in the same property, but it's not an active farm anymore.
Okay. Do they have like remnants of trees that were just never sold and they're still in the ground
Yes,
growing?
they look creepy and cool because now they're getting to be, 30, 40 feet
Yeah,
tall.
yeah.
And you can go and play through them.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how cool it must be to be like, yeah, this used to be a tree farm. You can tell clearly because there's all these trees around, but
Yep,
they're
in perfect
limbed
rows
up
and
or
plots.
yeah.
Yeah, my dad will still do a couple of tree plants for us to come back and like have each year for our trees.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But really, it's just very, very small.
So are you very, very against artificial trees for Christmas?
I actually have an artificial tree, and I've had for the last few years.
Do your
And it
parents
hurt
know?
me
Do your
the year
parents
that I
know?
had to switch. Yes,
Okay.
I had to like call my parents, put them both on the phone, and explain this. But my home is over 110 years old.
Oh,
and
wow.
it gets very, very dry.
Oh,
So
yeah.
my first couple of years in the house, I had real trees, and like within a week, even with watering them, you would walk on the floors, and it would just rain the needles down. And then we would find them all throughout the year and step on them, and it'd be a thing.
And it's
So,
not safe.
No.
Yeah, so I would imagine you had your whole like, all right, I gotta get my thoughts in order before I call my parents and tell them what I'm doing here.
Yep. And then my mom actually like found me a good artificial tree on a deal because again she's super resourceful. But like growing up, we had a tree in every room. Not all of them
really?
were real. We
Yeah,
had the family tree, which was a
Okay.
real Christmas tree, and that held a big place in my heart too.
Yeah.
So I wanted that, but
Yeah.
now it is an artificial tree,
I don't
and
know
I
if
had
you-
to accept it.
I don't know if you noticed behind you, but my parents still have a tree there, and they also have a tree upstairs that gets decorated for every holiday.
I love that.
So
love
it never is not lit up some way. So,
Fun.
but that they've been that way for. We moved to Paris when I was 14, and that's when we started that. I don't know if it started like, hey, we're never gonna. No one wants to take the tree down, or just like if that was my mom. My mom's thinking even back then, but it's been like that for a while that they just have a tree up.
Fun.
Yeah. All right, so I want to go back to competitive cheer now.
Okay.
So you did it all through high school.
Correct.
Did you like go to competitions, travel, all that kind of stuff too?
Yes. Now, Michigan competitive cheerleading is different than anywhere else in the United States. We didn't use music. We had 3 different rounds, and they were like a calisthenic round where it was motions, jumps, and kicks.
Mm-hmm.
The next round was scored on different gymnastic skills, and we all had to do it simultaneously in the same way. It had to match. So
Like
we
synchronized swimming or what?
essentially, but not as creative.
Okay.
So it was everyone in the state had the same first 10 counts of motions that you had to do.
Oh, okay.
And then you had 5 skills that you had to do that you were scored on. So we would do a back tuck, a back handspring, 2 different jumps, and usually like a back walkover,
Okay.
which are gymnastic skills. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it all had to be done as pristine as possible in synchrony. Yep. And then our last skill was more, or our last round was more of the open skills where stunts were allowed and more tumbling passes. But again, none of it was to music.
Yeah,
so we
that's-
had to say the words, counts, and make the sounds with our bodies like stomps, claps, slaps.
Oh my god, that's what was when you said that. It's so hard to even think of that. It seems a lot harder.
Yes. Yes, because not only are you doing this like really physical thing, but you're done needing to project your voice.
Yeah.
And then do it with a smile and all of that comes with it.
Yeah. So how was your team in high school?
Good.
Did you guys do?
Yeah, we broke a lot of our school records. We
Nice.
always made it past our district into regionals. Never made it quite to states, but we were close.
Okay. All right. And after high school, then no more cheer? You were done with that, or are you still doing
I actually was approached while I was still in high school to coach a team because I was going to school locally.
Okay.
So I started coaching the freshman team at my alma mater.
Oh, nice.
And then I worked my way up, and I was the varsity coach there for a couple of years, about 10 years. And I had a team underneath me, several assistant coaches,
That's
all the way
awesome.
down to our seventh graders.
When you were in high school and was your thought ever to coach?
That's a good question. From a young age, I knew I loved teaching. Like, I'm my best self when I get to teach and work with people. So I always kind of gravitated towards those different opportunities. I also wanted to be a cruise director, but that's a whole nother set of skills, but kind of not with coaching.
Yeah.
Like, you are facilitating, you are leading, you're creating that community and bringing a vibe. Sometimes you need to steer people in a certain course or redirect.
Yeah.
So I just knew from a young age that I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because that's one of those things too. When I was in high school, I try to think about it now. I've been coaching for 16 years, football, and at some sort of level. And I try to think, like, in high school, if you would have said, "Do you want to coach?" I don't know if I would have said yes. Like, I didn't even think about it. And as I got older, my first coaching job, I think I was 19. I was coaching my sister's softball team. I was an assistant coach, and I really enjoyed it. And after that, there was a few years where I didn't do anything. But you mentioned, like, you like teaching it, and my daughter does. My daughter likes doing that too. Like, she likes teaching, and even tomorrow she's going with Andrea for the Sophisticates and her coach, and they're going to teach at the rec, like a whole group of kids. I think it's 85 kids or something like that.
That's a lot.
But she likes to do that, and then like if she does this in the future, like if she's a coach or whatever, then to me I can point back to it like, oh yeah, clearly I can see like this is something you wanted to do. But it is again, when I was in high school, I don't think I would have said, yeah, I want to do this. So it's good to see that, or to hear that you felt that and you knew that about yourself, and all these things. I obviously I know you from work, but all these things, like, in my brain, I'm like, oh, that's why you're perfect for the role you're doing currently for the parks, is because like all these things are leading up to where you're at now, and to me it makes sense that you're good at your job because of all these things.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's impressive. So you were coaching for 10 years, you said. What did you like most about coaching?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think I most like, and I still even find that true today, that you provide an opportunity for someone to learn something about themselves. And you try to bring out the best in that individual, figure out what that thing is, and then amplify it or hone it in. So that's probably my favorite thing.
And which I agree. Like, to see somebody, you're coaching them, to see someone, whatever they're working on, get it finally. It's like it's almost like you got it. Like, oh yeah, like
absolutely. It's a high. Like,
yes,
yeah, I feel just as much of a win as that individual feels.
Yes, or when they come up to you and they either you are observing them saying something you said to them, to like one of their teammates, and you're like, oh, okay, they are getting it, or they come up to you and be like, I finally felt what you were talking about, or know what you're talking about when I did this thing or whatever.
Those aha moments.
Yeah, because it puts it back on you to be like, okay, what I'm doing, this is what I'm supposed to be doing because this is what's working. Whether it's with, in your case, one girl or the whole team, like whatever that piece is like you said, it's a win.
Absolutely.
Most people, when they stop coaching, it's for a particular reason. Did you have a particular reason, like, I can't continue to do this because this is not working, or whatever?
Honestly, it's just there's not enough hours in the day.
Okay.
Working full time, and then I was coaching, which felt like a full-time job as well. Having a relationship and someone else who needs attention, love, and time as well. And then Circus came into my world, and I shifted focus from competitive cheerleading to Circus.
I never thought about it until last year after football season. I was talking to Craig, my boss, and he's like, man, you guys are doing a good job here. The park looks great. Your staff is doing a good job, and you do all this also while doing another, like, a second job. And I didn't even think about coaching as like another job. And it put it in perspective, like, yeah, it is. And, it's I get paid far less.
very little, but the time commitment is the same.
Yes, yeah. So it put it in perspective, like, yeah, and that makes sense for you. Like, this is where am I going to put my time? Yeah. So after coaching, you dive more into this circus and bird's eye view, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Bird's eye view circus.
Yep. Also, I will put any websites or anything in the show notes so people can click on it, check it out,
Awesome.
whatever you guys have.
Thank you.
When do you talked about classes. When did you go from taking your first class to saying, hey, I want to purchase a circus or own a circus?
I never wanted to own a circus. It's really what happened. So Bird's Eye View Circus was established in 2012, so it had a lot of longevity. I got to be a part of that ride for a long time, too. The founder, Erin Garber Pearson, she was from out of state, and her family still lived like across the United States, and she just wanted to move closer to them.
Okay.
For a while, she had lived out of state and had a couple of us that had, more jobs and responsibilities within the space. But eventually, she's like, I'm selling it or closing the doors. And she tried a couple different other avenues, and I tried to get a couple other people to buy it. And then we got together with a few other friends. So there's essentially 3 parts. My husband and I, our friend Renee Granados, and Chloe Whiting Stevenson.
Okay.
We got together and we're like, what if we buy it together? Then we all split the responsibilities. Yeah. It's not just on one person. So we did, and we've been doing that for 3 years. Okay. And we're all still friends and like each other and hang out outside of work functions.
That's important.
It really is. Yes, yeah. It really helps that we had been doing some of the work beforehand, and we had been working in this creative, sometimes stressful space for about 10 years together, so we knew how each other functioned. So we were able to, divvy up responsibilities and still maintain a positive relationship with each other.
So how does someone start a circus here that doesn't, like, she started it in Toledo but she didn't live here?
She did at the time live in Toledo.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She did. It was like her neighborhood circus. Is out of Old West End, out of the Collingwood Art Center, and we're still located there. And she also lived in the neighborhood, and that's how I met her, because I also lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And she just advertised in our community pages. But years prior, she had taken many classes, and she had a teaching background. She was a professor at BGSU. She went to circus school in Chicago, too.
Circus school?
Yep. It's a thing all throughout the United States, and also it's bigger in Europe and Canada.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of Clown College in Florida. I don't know if that exists, but it was a thing.
It was a thing. I watched a documentary on it.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there are, several different prestigious circus schools. Some are more based on the physicality, and some are more art-based, like creating that character.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about the circus. What, how many people you got in there? Is it more of a like, hey, we have an event, who's available? Like, tell me a little bit about it.
All the above. It's kind of threefolds. So Bird's Eye View Circus, we're a circus school, and we have classes running every day of the week, several classes a night, and on the weekends. We hold regular classes for kids 7 and up. My oldest student was in their 80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was that student doing?
They did aerial silks.
Okay. All right.
But we also teach younger age groups. Like I've done preschool classes and had some 5-year-olds come in, but we do individual lessons for those specifically. So it's at the school, and people sign up for a class package. Right now, they're currently 4 weeks long, so you essentially sign up for a month at a time, and you take a class weekly, and it's a progressive curriculum. The other fold of that is that we do performances like throughout the community, like a traveling circus. So over this past weekend, we were at the Rossford Festival, and we had our aerial rig set up.
Okay.
And we had people walking around on stilts and juggling, doing flow arts. I was on the aerial rig for a couple of hours just entertaining folks.
Yeah.
So we call that gig work.
Okay.
And then the last fold is that we are also storytellers. So we do like community theater, narrative-based stories, where we invite our students and outside instructors to come in and create a piece together. Sometimes it's more like a cabaret style, like we'll give a theme and they create their own act. And other times it's a truly narrative story. So this past winter in December, we did Krampus, which is a completely world premiere circus story because we wrote it about how Krampus came to be.
Okay.
And then we had choreography classes where our students signed up for, and then they performed this show.
Yeah.
It was 2 days long. We had over 600 people come, and it was a 2-hour-long show, and it was amazing. We're doing it again this year. I'm very excited about it. But there is dance and aerial and combat and juggling all throughout it just to tell this origin story on Krampus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of different folds, and we'll do these theater-style shows as well as kind of like going out into the community just with an act.
Do you, of all the things, those 3 different folds and the classes, everything, do you have a favorite thing about the circus?
All of it. I love it. I love the community that it brings together. Like,
Yeah.
I've met so many different people that I don't think I would interact with otherwise. I love teaching, so it gives me that outlet and allows to work with those individuals one-on-one in this group setting.
Yeah.
I love performing. I get to wear a costume, and that's fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have people take classes, is there a and it might not be after a month, but is there like a, hey, we're going to do this class for X amount of time, and then you get to do a performance? Is there something like that? Or do you
It
guys do
really
things
is
like
based
that?
on the individual and their comfort level.
Okay.
Like, not everybody who comes to this wants to perform and be in front of people. Sometimes they really just want the workout and to do it
Okay.
creatively. A lot of our students, they come to us because they don't like working out, and they kind of get tricked into working out by doing these things. They're like, oh, I want to get stronger because I want to get to the top of this thing, and we show them how they can do that
Okay.
in that progressive manner.
Again, when you talk about it, I can see how much you enjoy it. Now, whether you wanted to own it or not, I know how much you enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
and I think having those other partners makes it, feasible for you to be like, all right, if you were the sole owner, or even just you and your husband, like, all right, this might not be as fun anymore, and then when you do these things, you want it to be fun. Like, otherwise, why put your money behind it or anything else if you can't have fun doing it? It sounds like you, again, when you talk about it, you love doing it.
Absolutely. I listened to a podcast about a year ago that was Ologies with Allie Ward, and it was a podcast on what makes something fun. It was funology. They had a more scientific word than that. But essentially, it was funology and the
Yeah.
different components that go into making something fun. And it sounds really clinical, but they have done research and narrowed it down to 3 different elements. Connection. Even the most introverted people, a fun moment still has a moment of connection. That could even be with like an animal companion or one other person. It was flow, being in that like zone state, like really knowing the thing. And the last component was play. Not like actively play how a child would play, but like a playful mindset. So
Okay.
really the circus encompasses all those things. We have people, we have the connection. You can really hone in and find your zone with the flow. And then it's a circus. We want to play. We want to
Yeah.
have fun. So we have that playful mindset, and all those things together make something fun.
I think the hardest part, I would imagine, the hardest part about that is the flow aspect, because yes, I feel like there'd be not immediate, but there is going to be some connection, because whether you're a student or the teacher, that you have to have some sort of a little bit of connection to do this thing. But then the part from first learning how to do it to then get to that flow is, I would imagine, is the frustration part.
Sure, and it's
right?
not a linear process anytime you're learning something. When I teach my beginner level classes, I do try to set them up to where everybody can have a successful moment. And that might be different based on the individual. Oh, it actually really is based on, their body style and type and the things that they enjoy doing. Sometimes it can be a little painful. So different people think different things are painful because you are like tying your foot in a thing or like trying to get a pivot point on a certain part of your body, like a hip hinge or a shoulder point. But it's really approachable and attainable. So we really just find those couple of moves that everybody can have a win. And as they get more experience and get stronger, that's when things become more complex and you have to remember the steps along the way. So for me, myself, it definitely hasn't been linear. Like I definitely was like a physical person when I came into this.
Yeah.
So I progressed really quickly. And then I had moments where things got exponentially harder. So then I had to work a little bit more and then things could progress. Or maybe I had an injury or I took time off or I didn't eat well that day. So that training session might be a little bit lower.
Yeah. Has this circus taken you guys anywhere outside of our area, or is you guys stay here?
Yeah, we're predominantly in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay.
I have traveled to West Virginia and hired for events there, where I've taken acts in a little mini show, and also up to Detroit as well.
And what does that look like when you guys travel out of the area?
Yeah.
Like, what I picture is what you picture on a cartoon, 20
Everyone
years
in
ago.
a clown car, piles on in, kind of.
On the Dumbo train, like.
Oh, yeah, totally. Well, it's usually 1 to 2 vehicles with a little mini trailer pulled behind. So not far off.
And did you say like, hey, we have this gig in West Virginia for this instance? Do you are they looking for something specific? And I guess this goes for anybody who wants you guys to perform. Are they looking for specific things, or do you tell them, here's what we have available, how does that work? Getting people or getting the
A
gig?
little of both. A lot of times, people that have some sort of family event, and they're like, "Oh, we want to engage people in a different way." So they'll reach out to us or find us through social media, through a website, and see like, "Oh, we want that. We want somebody to come and hula hoop with people. Oh, we want some big spectacle. We want you to bring your aerial rig out here and have people do these, strong dance moves suspended from the air." So it really varies.
Now, what was I going to ask? I don't remember now. So you were, that's what I was going to say. Do people, or do you offer classes, like if in those instances when you go somewhere, do you offer like classes like that way as well? Or is there a teaching component or learning things when you go places?
We can. It depends on our liability insurance and kind of what we're hired for, because then we have to get that coverage because we're fully insured. When we teach people, that's a different coverage than if we're just coming to be a spectacle.
Okay.
So it depends on what is asked of us and what we get for that. But we go to like the Girl Scout big event each year, and at that event, we want kids to try Circus.
Yeah.
So for that, it is a teaching event where we're getting people to like get on the aerial rig in a very low, safe setting.
Yeah.
Where we're bringing out, spinning plates and hula hoops and showing people how to interact with this stuff. But sometimes people just want a spectacle.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to also provide that too.
What is your favorite thing to watch of the circus?
Ooh, that's a good question. I always love a good aerial. I kind of nerd out, knowing the theories and the puzzling behind it. So if I get to see something that someone does in the air that's unexpected, not like a drop or anything where that comes out, because I can usually like visually watch and see, oh, they're wrapping, they're going to be doing this as the next step.
Okay.
But there are some transitions that people can take that are just smart and creative that I nerd out over that.
I noticed that too when my daughter does duet baton, and to see how different teams pass the batons to each other is interesting to me, or you can see like that they work on this thing, or in some groups it's not as important to how they pass the baton. There's some that would just like hand it to them, like, no, that's your chance to do something really cool.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So
but it's different people's preference and different styles.
Yeah. When you mentioned the freak show aspect of it, and at first, because we were talking about the animals and how circuses have gone away with that, and rightfully so, and then I thought, okay, well, do people still do the freak show aspects of it? But then I would imagine yes, because those people can at least say like, yes, I want to do this. Like they are the ones doing it as opposed to some animal you're making them do something.
Correct.
Right? So what do you have those aspects in your circus as well?
Not as much.
Okay.
Not as much.
It's I would imagine when you have a circus, there is certain paths you go down, and I would imagine those people are kind of hard to find too. If there is somebody that's willing to do that.
Yes. My husband very casually has done human blockhead, where you can, nail into the nasal cavity.
Really?
And he just figured out one day because
that's so terrifying.
It is not my favorite thing. But he figured it out because he had to have his adenoids removed, and he was like doing a clean something, and he's like, wow, I can put a Q-tip all the way back here and it's fine. What else can I stick in my nose, right? So he figured out,
he's like a 4-year-old.
A very long nail can go into his head, and then he can turn that into a spectacle. He doesn't perform it regularly, mostly because I don't love it.
Oh, wild.
It is totally safe, but again, I'm like, our insurance, no. But a lot of times people are just like, okay, I have this unique skill. How can I then get the reaction that you just had when I said, he puts a nail into his head?
Yeah. Wait, and you just talked about it. I didn't even see it. In that same realm of circus, I'm assuming there's like people who are like double jointed and that kind of stuff too. Do you have any of that kind of stuff? Because I would just see like, if you are doing some of these aerial stuff, and like it would be, I don't know if beneficial is the right word, but it would come in handy to be able to do some of that other stuff as well.
Absolutely. People are double jointed. People have, this natural flexibility that they were born with. And a lot of times we as a circus school are saying like, hey, let's make sure that you can do this for a long time. Let's talk about the things that will help in your longevity and keep your body safe. Usually it's just, getting strong and finding that safe end range. But yes, contortion is a huge thing. And people who are naturally bendy also find the circus too.
Contortion. See, I'm just an idiot. I couldn't think of that word contortion.
It's not the world you live in. That's totally okay. Super flexible people.
Do you have people that approach you or want to take your classes and want to make this like a career, like
Absolutely.
get to bigger places?
Absolutely.
Not to say that, our local circus is not big, but
We can build a foundation. And I encourage a few of my students, especially who want to do this professionally, like, hey, build your foundation and start learning these skills. And then maybe you go to circus school. Maybe you then start not only booking gigs with us, but then you book gigs with others. Yeah. And there are people who do this professionally that are from Toledo.
Are all these professional performers, is it all like freelance stuff, or
essentially we're all independent contractors for the most part that we have to hold our own different type of liability insurance to that can get booked through things.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And how often are you guys getting booked for things?
We definitely have a gig season throughout the summer and fall.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then around Christmas time, we'll do holiday events and things too. So it kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
I would love for this, one day to be my only job.
Yeah.
But there's only so much in the area, especially I'm very focused and homed here. A lot of people who do it professionally do travel a lot.
Yeah. And that'd be difficult, especially like that. If you decide to go that route, then obviously you won't have a job. Like this will be your job. And it's a tough thing to put your eggs in this basket.
Sure.
It's scary.
And I do want to amend my words. Like there are professionals and we are professionals, and I'm a professional circus person. Sure. I get paid for doing this.
Yeah.
I guess the distinction would be only having this as a single career. And there are a lot of even people who are, circus artists that really have this as a single career. Since things can be very seasonally, they have other jobs too, and that kind of off season.
Yeah. But it's always, and I've talked about it before, like this would be great if I could just do this as my job.
Totally.
Right? This is
that
fun,
being said, I do love my Metro Parks job. I just need to state that on the record. I really do. And I know I'm sounding sarcastic now.
No. Yeah. I think people are well aware that you do. Like I said, you're great at your job there, and I'm assuming your bosses would agree. So hopefully this podcast
I get called in. Yeah. Okay.
We heard what you said. No. Well, that's great. Like it is. Again, when I found out you owned a circus, it's and maybe people have the same reaction. Other people when they find that out, it's like, oh, really? Like so it's cool. It's a cool thing, and I think, and hopefully you see that too, how unique it is and how great experience you're offering to other people. Let alone if you're watching, but also teaching people and offering these classes. And like when I first heard it, it's like, oh, they just go perform and do things. But to hear all these other things you do and help people and, like you said, get people to, if they want to do this as a career, get them to where they got to be, like all these things. So it sounds like an awesome thing. And hopefully there's people that, hopefully there isn't a lot of people that didn't know existed, but now that they do, maybe they can understand it and be a part of it or book you or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. All are welcome.
Yeah. So Morgan, I appreciate you coming out here. This was great. Again, through the years, learning all these new things and be able to come here and sit about and talk about this, not only you and the things leading up to the circus, but the circus itself, which I think, again, is a really unique thing and cool thing in Toledo. And I'm glad it's here for anybody who wants to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. If you want to reach out or be on the show, just search the Nerdball Podcast on any social media. If you want to email us, that is thenerdballpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always YouTube, so you can go on there, subscribe to the Nerdball Podcast, and watch the podcast every week. As always, thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuddlefish Graphics, Big Daddy Graphics, and Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab for always supporting the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.